Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our February desktop time. We're going to kind of catch our breath for a few seconds here and let people sign in that are going to be able to join us today. We're very happy and privileged to have with us today Sara Laidlaw from ASB. Hope I got that right. And so she's going to be starting us off today as our guest host. And then we also are very privileged to have Charles Nagel and John Logan from Qvinci with us as well. They're going to be doing a demo of Qvinci just a little bit later, so we'll turn the floor over to them in about 20 to 30 minutes. Hope all of you are doing well. I was mentioning earlier we had a slightly lower than usual turnout last month because of tax season, I believe, so I think everybody's kind of in the throes of getting ready for their clients. And last month there was the W-2 1099 thing, and I think now everybody's just working on all those returns. So hopefully you'll get a chance to join us today, and look forward to everything we're going to learn today from both of our esteemed guests. And we'll also talk a little bit about what's happening next month as we get closer to the end. But thank you very much again for joining us. Just as a reminder, desktop time is a safe place for you people that are still using desktop. Haven't evolved to one of the hosted options or SaaS options. We try to each month talk about products that integrate with desktop and have someone like Sara that can talk to us about using it for her own practice. We are hosted and sponsored by some company called Qbox. If you haven't heard about them, we're not going to talk about them today, but check it out. If you're someone that likes desktop and want a better way to collaborate with remote shared users, you can look us up at qboxplus.com. But without any further ado, I would like to go ahead and just go through the bios of our esteemed guests today. And sorry, John, I don't have any information for you. I didn't know you were going to be joining us. But so Sara today is joining us, and she's the owner of Accounting Services Bureau, Inc., or ASB, and also TBX Trial Balance Exporter. Throughout her career, she's refused to be told she can't do something and instead has an approach of why not. Starting in the mid-'80s, Sara worked as an accountant by day and restored exotic cars in the evening. I've been meaning to ask you about that one. Working for Price Waterhouse at that time, she was told they were closing the write-up department, so she bought it. Then she was challenged by a shipping company to find a program for ILA payroll, and she wrote one and started a payroll company. And when told that QuickBooks doesn't export a trial balance by class or period, she wrote a utility that does just that. Somewhere in her accounting journey, Sara became known as the local nonprofit guru, leading to nonprofits being 90% of her client base. And with remote access, her clients are all over the United States. So that's Sara. Welcome, Sara. Thanks. And then we also, as I mentioned, have Charles with us today from Qvinci. And Charles is responsible for the implementation of Qvinci's strategic and tactical plans. He has a broad experience in building and turning around companies in a variety of industries, including software, medical, manufacturing, agriculture, and consulting. He's created and filed 3 patents for Qvinci. One has been awarded while the other 2 are in process, and I think he may have an update on that. In addition to Qvinci, Charles has successfully brought a number of other inventions to market during his career. In his role at Qvinci, Charles focuses on driving innovation leadership and team building at the executive level while implementing the overall strategic and tactical plans. Okay, you guys gave me a workout once again. So Charles, thank you for joining us. John, also, I apologize we don't have a bio for you, but John Logan's here with us. I actually had the privilege of talking to both these guys at a recent QB Connect here in beautiful San Jose, California, which is where we're headquartered. But anyways, without any further ado, Sara, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and you can share with us about your practice and TBX, and it's all yours.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for asking me to host today. I'm excited today because my programmer sent me an alpha copy of my new TBX program last night so I could give you guys a sneak peek of the new journal entry export. I know a lot of people have been waiting for it. But first, I know you said you do want to talk about Qbox, but I do want to say that I am a huge fan of Qbox, and it's enabled me to keep my clients that need to stay on desktop while patiently waiting for QBO to add features, especially in reporting and payroll. The lack of payroll allocations and options is the main reason most of my clients are staying on desktop for the moment. Though we do have clients that have migrated to QBO, but they're keeping the payroll on desktop. So touch a little bit of one of the reasons I use TBX. it leads me to talk about various challenges that we have in desktop. I'm all about solutions. I don't like pain points. If something irritates me, I want to find a better way to do it. And like you said, I don't like being told I can't do something, especially in software, which is why I wrote TVX. Very quickly, I know you touched on it, back in the early 2000s, my practice consisted of 2 bookkeepers, 2 write-up accountants, and payroll staff. And I was in the middle doing all the reviewing. So I would review general ledgers and QuickBooks for my bookkeepers, and then in Creative Solutions for my accountants. And it was driving me crazy because in QuickBooks I could zoom in, zoom out, edit on the fly. It was just so simple. Payroll returns were getting simpler and simpler. And in my big boy software, I couldn't zoom. I had to open and close months. Okay. And then the other thing that prompted me to change up my business model was we were getting more and more QuickBooks support calls. And my bookkeepers could answer them, but my accountants couldn't. So I was missing out on a revenue stream there. So I decided that a general ledger is a general ledger. A general ledger is a chart of accounts holding financial figures. So I really didn't care if I crunched the numbers in QuickBooks or I crunched the numbers in Creative Solutions. But my dilemma in dropping Creative Solutions was, 1, my pretty financial statements, because I can't do pretty financial statements in QuickBooks, and 2, years of history, monthly history, budgets were all trapped in Creative Solutions. So I get this bright idea. All I have to do is Creative Solutions has last month's trial balance. I just need to post a journal entry of this month's activity, and I can print my financials. So after a couple of months of hand keying in these journal entries, I decided that I needed something fast because I have no patience, and my husband's not here, but I just heard him laugh. And I needed something simple. I don't want to read a book. I want something that's just right out of the box simple. And so I ended up finding a programmer who would write me a program to read QuickBooks in seconds, give me my journal entry, and I actually had an export that was written specifically for Creative Solutions. So fast forward to today, it's had a lot of rewrites and reiterations, and I'm adding features, including last month we released a version that has the tax line code. We had a lot of accountants asking to grab that tax line out of QuickBooks. So that's how I got into this. I mean, I'm an accountant and then developer on the side somehow, but I really tossed it up in a shopping cart and would sell a couple, and it helped recoup my programming cost. And so, but as it's grown and word's gotten out, it's really becoming fun, and is now a significant part of my business. So, I mean, right off the bat, I can hear people saying, well, what's wrong with QuickBooks? It's got a trial balance. It does have a trial balance, and it will export to Excel. But what's missing? If you produce a trial balance in QuickBooks, you will get the good old-fashioned normal as of trial balance. As of a certain date, that's a normal definition of a trial balance. You'll get the debits and credits in separate columns, which can be a little inconvenient if you're dealing with data. And with QuickBooks, the account number is exported embedded with the account name with this big old dot in the center. And I guess if you're really efficient in Excel, you can, separate out the field and get rid of that dot, okay, without driving me crazy. But more importantly, missing was the class names. And if you use class allocations to separate departments or any type of division, and you export a trial balance out of QuickBooks, rent is rent. It's just all the rent. You're not going to get rent class 1, rent class 2, rent class, okay. So finally, there's no way to obtain the financial change between 2 points of time without cobbling together a change balance sheet, a balance sheet that shows a change column, and a P&L, and cobbling it together. Okay, so sometimes you just need the period change. So I wrote TBX, and I was surprised that it's not being used like I thought it would be used. I do have a lot of CPA firms that are using it for tax prep. I have clients that are using CCH engagement, say, and when we, as part of our normal, we're a outsourced accounting firm now, so I don't do any tax work. So when we close the year, part of my set of reports is a clean trial balance that can be imported right into their tax programs. I have CPAs that are using it. Maybe they just want to crunch the numbers in Excel. Okay. But the number one reason people use TBX is history migration. And the beginning of the year is the best time to do a migration in accounting. Unfortunately, it comes right before or right during our tax season. So you want a tool that's going to be fast and quick and easy to use. And so if you can find a tool that will export the monthly history from that chart of accounts, you can use it to start a brand new, fresh QuickBooks data file, or migrate to a new accounting system such as NetSuite or Intact, Dynamics, Sage, any other industry-specific software. We have a lot of sales to there's mortgage company accounting software, things like that. The second highest is franchisees reporting to franchisors. So we have companies that will do subsidiary books in QuickBooks, and then they need to report to the home office, and I am excited to see what Qvinci will do, because I know that they're real big in the franchise arena. Audit prep, I use it mainly for, I actually speak on audit prep. Most of my clients are nonprofit, and I use it extensively for audit prep, and it's real handy because we classify by function. We use the class names for function codes, and I need it for allocating indirect costs. And then the other is, and I mentioned this before, some people will use payroll in desktop, but maybe their books are someplace else, either in another desktop file, and for confidentiality purposes they want to keep it separate, or they've moved on to QBO and they need that information. So our program can, when it exports the activity, the period of just the payroll date, here's your journal entry in these seconds. And the last, I guess, would be, we have a lot of CFOs and companies that are doing analytics, and it's just a quick way to get figures into Excel so they can do analytics. So I know you're tired of me babbling on. My demo of TBX will take about a whole minute because it really is quick and simple. So I'm going to fire it up. All right, so let me share my screen. Desktop 1, share. What have you got? Oh, got us. All right, yeah, I don't know. All right, do you see a blank screen with some flowers on it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I see. Some flowers at the top.
Yeah. I like clean little desktops. Okay. So the first thing we do is open QuickBooks. Ta-da! This is the Rock Castle construction. This has been around for 100 years. And the first thing we have to make sure is the account numbers are turned on. Don't ask me why. It has something to do with the programming SDK. I don't know why Intuit does what it does, but the account numbers have to be turned on even if you're not using them. And if you need cash basis or versus accrual reports, you have to go to Edit, Preferences, Reports and Graphs, and this cash or accrual is where TBX will come to look. So that and the accounting use account numbers are required. So as long as we've used it before and we've already given QuickBooks authorization to TBX to talk to one another, QuickBooks does not have to be open in the background. I like to have it open in the background because it speeds it up. Okay, and then we fire up my little program. Ta-da! As you can see, it's simple. One screen. The first section is use the Open QuickBooks company. I'm going to do that. And I immediately test the connection and make sure they're talking and happy with one another. So it's successfully connected. Okay, so before I dive into the options, let's hold on for just a second. Just in case there's somebody who's watching who is unsure as to what a period change is, let's quickly peek at some financials. Boom. Okay, there's my rock castle. If I do a trial balance as of December 31st, and this is a sample company, so it's a weird year, your as of is the checking account had $46,000 in it as of December 31st. But if I want to know the period change, this particular comparative balance sheet I asked for last year. So this $10,000 is the period change for the last 12 months. We started with 36, we added 10, we're at 46. If you scroll down, get past the liability section, equity, notice that in order to get this balance sheet to balance, we have to plug the P&L. So remember the $113,000, that is your P&L bottom line. And over in the net change is the same 113. Okay. Now if I pull up a P&L by class, now we can see that if you go all the way to the bottom, there's my 113. But I may want the information, design income, instead of 36,000 for last year's design income, I may want 3,000 for one class, 33,000 for the other class. Also, the class names in QuickBooks may not be the way you want them in your exported data. When we do migrations to, say, Intact, we may say, all right, let's assign this one a 10, 20, 30. And there's a little replacement table that'll pop up that'll let us do that. So that's what the P&L looks like. So that's how the financials go together. And then now let's see how TBX, and Chris, we can share, I can give this PDF to anybody who asks. We can distribute it later. It's got a screenshot and the replacement tables, nothing to it. It's going to default to the class names. When you first pull it up, it'll have the class names duplicated, and if you want to replace it, you can, and then it'll save that table for subsequent use. All right, so what will happen is we'll pop over to TBX and show you how it works. But when you open up a file in a comma delimited file, it can be a little scary. So I wanted to show this is what it looks like. When you first open it, it's like, what is that mess? Okay, but I immediately, yeah, it looks crazy. I immediately keep going. Open up in Excel. I widen the columns. I take the amounts and make it a number. I format it so I can actually read it. And so that is one thing that I have done is I've probably given more information that people need. But in order to keep the program really simple, I pretty much go here, and then when you pull it up into Excel, you can delete out any columns that you want. The other new column is the account name. For instance, payroll liabilities is a parent, federal withholding, but at the lowest level, it's called federal withholding. And that was a request. And the tax line is brand new. And then you can see design labor. There's my 3,000, there's my 33,000 subcontractors. So it top to bottom nets to zero. trial balance is always net to zero. Ta-da. Sit there. And then I'll show you the last, it won't be the last because I have a new journal entry export, but we can export the period changes in monthly columns. So the checkbook changed $10,000, but it really changed 513 in January. So what people have been using this export for is to create 12 journal entries to get history into another program or a new data file. And I can test it by totaling all the columns. They should all net to zero. And if I do a range of just the P&L accounts, there's my P&Ls, and the grand total is my 113. Okay, so enough of that. Back here. So quite simple. If I want to do a simple trial balance, a period change for, let's say, 01, 02 to a weird date, 12/31/22. Include titles and totals. I had a request for people that really crunch data. They don't want all that pretty header with the account name and what the period and all that. They just want raw data. So you can turn that off. The other is I have it defaulting to open it as a text file in Notepad, which gives you a glance at it before you go and open it in Excel. And then if I want to do the classes, you just click on classes and boom, it reads the class list. It reads the entire class list. I'm so sorry, but TBX doesn't know which classes have information in them at this point. I have to create a replacement table before it actually goes and reads the data. So you may see the parents and the children, and that's because QuickBooks lets us post to the parent accounts and parent class names. The sample data is really simple. So, and it saved my last tax table. And you just click export. And I had done one earlier. And then boom, there it is in Notepad. Looks a little scary when it's in a comma delimited format. But I can glance at it and go, yep, there's my 10,000. Look at the bottom, netting to zero. This little program works. And then I can come over to, well, let's see. Let's do, where was it? Which one was it? Well, I'll show you an old one. Let's just save it somewhere else. Oh, no, I want to show you that. That's my sneak peek. Get out of there. Is this one? Oh, I was so ready. All right, so there it is looking really scary. Click on the whole file, double click in between the columns. Now it's too wide. Here are my numbers. I do all this without even thinking. Column I, give it some commas, okay? Delete out whatever columns you want, columns that you want. This is really handy for payroll because I can say, just give me period Friday the 23rd, and it's going to, this should be just all the payroll accounts, and that's my journal entry for payroll. So very quick and easy. And my new one, okay, journal entry. I do a lot of work with TPI Transaction Pro Importer. So if you have TPI as an import program and TBX as an export program, they work really well together. I can do a journal entry for last year. And, oh, that's why I did that. There we go. Let's do my new JE, okay, export. What we've done is taken those trial balances, like if you do for a whole year, you have 12 of them, and we've stacked it. So let's not look at it that way. That's too scary. Let's go look over here. And where's my new journal entry? What we've added is a reference number and a transaction date. So all of January will have the same reference number and transaction date. And this is sorting by account. Let me try it a different way. Maybe it'll make more sense. Sort by date. Okay. So my January trial balance ends right there. And if you were to test it, it nets to 0. This can be used for importing journal entries and for migrating seconds. This usually, especially if they're for class codes, I have people telling me it takes days and days and days to populate spreadsheets for migrating to new programs. In this way, I can do 12 months at a time. We do have a limitation currently where we've got to stay within fiscal years. So if you want 3 years worth of history, you're going to have to do this 3 times, but I think that's a good trade-off. Okay, so simple. I did want to tell you that the other new thing that we have is an affiliate program. So if you're an accountant that likes tools and likes to recommend products, I've got a 20% affiliate program that is at there's a link at the bottom of our website to sign up. I also made a coupon code for desktop time for 20%. I'll leave it on until the end of March. It's 20DTT desktop time.
You're gonna have to. I will not remember that. You're gonna have to send it to me.
All that too. So, and so I thought I wanted to share that today. Anybody's on the webinar. How'd I do? 427.
Excellent. You're in time too. So thank you. Well, that looks like a very useful tool. It's funny. I was sitting here thinking that all that information, all those numbers. I'm just not an accountant, but
I know.
Kind of like, yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much for sharing. And actually, Misha is sending you a great job, Sarah. So
I'm trying to unshare here. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. If you just click up at the you know this better than I do.
Oh, stop share. Yeah, big and red. Okay, there you go.
So thank you very much. And as Sarah mentioned, we can actually, if you like, we can include in the post email to all the registered folks, just about the options and how to get in touch with you, et cetera, if you like. So.
And that PDF that I showed with the little sample financials, we can share that.
Okay, perfect. So, and actually, you got another great job, and actually 3 great jobs. You're up to 3 great jobs, and 4 I'm included too. So, thank you very much, Sarah. We really appreciate it, and we're going to go ahead and shift gears a little bit. I did want to mention before I forget, because I always later on remember all the things I should have said before I turn the floor over to Charles and John. Throughout the webinar today, you probably noticed there'll be questions that'll be posted, and if you do respond to those questions or whatever Allison asked you, which Allison's over there. She doesn't like being on camera. She's over there. You can see her picture if you're looking. But anyways, if you do reply to the questions that we ask you, you're going to receive either one of these cool Desktop Time t-shirts sponsored by Qbox, or one of these cool Qbox shirts. Maybe you heard of them. I'm not going to over-promote. Get one of those. Or a Qbox show bag. We're getting down the numbers of these, so these are a hot item. And then last but not least, and I don't have it. Oh, here it is. It's right here. The Qbox pen. It's probably upside down. So make sure you participate in the questions. We'd love to send you some free stuff. And next month we'll also have some additional giveaways as well. Okay, so with all of that being set aside, thank you again, Sarah. I do want to turn the floor over to Charles and possibly John. And again, I've actually talked to these guys at past shows. For some reason, we always end up right next to each other at some of the conferences, but been very impressed with their product as well and how it supports a variety of different instances. So I'm looking forward to hearing Charles' presentation as well. So Charles, I'm going to give you the floor. I see you've already taken over the screen, so why don't you go ahead.
Okay, John, did you want to weigh in on this before I do the demo?
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, Chris, thanks so much for inviting us on. We're honored to be associated with you all in the show. Sarah, tough act to follow. Nice job. So real quickly, let me give you all the 30,000-foot overview of Qvinci, and I'll turn it over to Charles to have him show you what we do. We are the leading provider of cloud-based financial data consolidation, thinking, mapping, reporting, business intelligence, and workflow management solutions for accounting firms who use QuickBooks. So regardless of a firm's size, Qvinci for Accountants facilitates a firm's ability to increase billing realization, improve staff utilization through automation, and probably most importantly, we provide additional tools and resources that empower accountants to become viewed by their clients as strategic advisors. And I know that's, first and foremost on everyone's mind. So with that said, let me turn it over to Charles Nagel, Qvinci's founder and chief innovation officer, and he'll kind of walk you through what we do.
Thanks, John. So welcome, everybody. We'll move through a PowerPoint briefly. I'm going to show you some examples of what we do, and then we'll hop in the app. But in a nutshell, we own the patents on consolidation. With QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop and other types of files, but mostly QuickBooks, and we really like desktop because most of our clients are on desktop. And so what we do is we allow accountants to create standard templates, and the same, because of the IP that we own, the same reporting templates that we create are going to work for your muffler shops and your yogurt shops. And you can do KPIs, and if you have some of our clients, I'll give you an example, we have clients that have 1,100 files, like Orange Theory Fitness, and we consolidate all those files and do benchmarking and ranking and those kinds of things. And we have a mapping tool that will take everything, all the data in from all these disparate files and bring them into a standardized chart of accounts. Well, the same kind of reporting structure and capability that you use on a what we call a multi-unit entity will work on a single unit entity as well. So we're really automating and standardizing the reporting process, and then we give you portal access so that you can drill down to underlying GL and journal GL from the reports. You can interrogate data, and then you can push journal entries into a plurality of QuickBooks files even though you're not in the files. You can use our portal. So imagine being able to administer reporting and general ledgers and journal entry and those kinds of things across all your customers without ever having to go into the files themselves, and even if it's QuickBooks Online. So you get to serve all of your clients. Now, we like QuickBooks Desktop because it's just more powerful than QuickBooks Online, and Online has not grown there yet. But we really solved a tremendous amount of problems, and we compressed the time needed to do reporting for your customers. Literally, it takes it from what accountants tell us, and we have accounting firms from BDO all the way down to single man shops, the solo practitioners, saves an average of about 60 minutes a month per client. We'll take it down to 30 seconds on reporting automation and customization. So in a nutshell, we have a sync app that sits in the heart of our application. With this QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, there's a sync app that gets downloaded wherever QuickBooks is running. And it will automatically start extracting this data every day. Every time you open that file on any given day, it's going to pull financial data out of that system automatically in the background. You don't have to do anything. And we bring it into our database at Amazon Web Services. That's where QuickBooks Online is hosted. It's where Netflix is hosted. It's highly secured, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 compliant. And so you have a data flow of all the files, data from all your client files automatically into a centralized database that standardizes data. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of clients, a lot of accountants, and some of them will have, maybe 10, 15, 20 doctors, 30 doctors. And what they'd like to do is all these doctors' charts of accounts are different. Well, Qvinci will map all that incoming disparateness, those charts of accounts, into a standard chart of accounts of your choosing, if you so desire. So you could have a standard reporting package for all of your doctors, and simply click a button and select 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 doctors. If they're consolidated, you'll select multiple doctors. If it's one file, you select one file. And your output reporting package is styled the way that you want with custom analytics, delivered to you in 30 seconds in Excel or PDF format. You review it, and boom, you send it off to the customer. You're done. Or you can do custom KPIs. We'll show you that in a minute. So the data is automatically coming in. It's being mapped. It's in a highly secure solution, an online solution, and you log into our portal. And if you're a multi-staff office, I mean, again, we have clients that have thousands of employees. We have clients that have one employee. If you have multiple employees, then you all log into the Qvinci portal and manage your clients, your plurality of clients, and their data in a centralized portal. That's similar to how Qbox has a portal to administer the files movement back and forth across a plurality of files. Same kind of concept, where ours is financial reporting and analysis versus Qbox, what they're managing. Well, we take it a step further and we say, you know what? We're going to give you general ledger access to all those files without opening those files. And we're going to let you enter journal entries from one standard portal across all your files without ever having to log into a file. If that client's got that file locked, and they're on the far end of the Qbox ecosystem, and they got that file locked, or maybe you got clients that are not in the Qbox ecosystem. That's fine. They can be part of the mix too. Maybe you got clients that are in QuickBooks Online. That's fine. They're part of the mix too. So you can get data from all these clients. You can drill down to GL, and you can also enter JEs and push them into the files from one single standard portal across all your users, across all your client files, no matter where they are. Well, we take it one step further. We do consolidation and custom KPIs and report templating. You'll have a library. You'll build, and we have 47 gap compliant reports. It solves 99% of your reporting needs. You put them in a library. You have documents. You have cover pages, table of contents, disclaimers, and all you do is you put these in here. You can build custom KPIs off the system. If you're comfortable with Excel, you're right at home with us because our report authoring tool looks and acts just like Excel. So you're building templates that you want to work across all your clients. You put them in a library. You assemble these into what we call packages. Table of contents, cover page, income statement, KPIs, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, budget to actual. By the way, we can consolidate budget to actual across a plurality of files. How long would it take to consolidate a budget versus actual across 10 files? Like a lifetime, right? We'll do it in 30 milliseconds. So you build these packages, and then you just auto-publish them. Either send them to your customer or invite your customer to join to run them. We automate this stuff. Another way of looking at it is we automate this stack of services. We automatically sync the data from all locations every day. We allow you and your staff GL access and JE creation across all QuickBooks files of all types, no matter where they are. As long as, well, they do have to be on this planet. We do have that requirement. But if they're on this planet, you're good to go. You can create, you and your staff will log into the portal and manage the plurality of your clients with drill down to underlying data without logging into a QuickBooks file. Yes, you will need to log into a QuickBooks file to do some data entry, but the management and reporting piece and putting JEs in, you do not need to do that. And it's really valuable. What accountants tell us is you got a client and they've got that QuickBooks file and it's not in the Qbox environment, it's on the back office on a toaster. Well, you can get into that file and work regardless. And even if that file is offline, you can do work and it'll catch up and push the data in the next day, let's say. You can style the reports for your standards in assembly and share. We're automating this stack of services, which is a highly manual recursive effort. It now is not highly manual, it's not recursive. So I'll tell you what let's do. Let's look at a couple of sample output packages before we hop in the application, and let's look at a sample report that's been dumped to Excel, just an example. This is probably the most popular template we have in our system. You can style, this looks like Excel, right? Well, it is a dump from Excel, but it's a dump from our application into Excel. So I can build this template that has this styling, and it always picks the last 3 months and consolidates the last 3 months, the same period year over year, variance between the two, year-to-date variance. All these columns are customizable, and I'm just building a template because I like this template. And it automatically knows how to hydrate the chart of accounts. Everything's automatically double inline style, and I can add custom rows and columns of analysis to this report. Now this template is one report in a library, and I can run it a la carte or I can run it as part of a package. But what this means is this. I can run this report across my dental shop, my muffler shop, my yogurt shop, my doctors, and I can select 25 doctor files, and I can consolidate them. And Qvinci will automatically mash all that data together in the standardized chart of accounts of your choice and put all the data in here with a click of a mouse. And this is one report in a series of reports in what we call a package. It'll always look like this. The data will change. The chart of accounts will change. But whether you choose one company or 200 companies, this chart is going to, as we say, hydrate with the correct data. And as you move through the year, when you get to March, it's going to be February, January, and December, right? And you can create these custom formats and periods, variable periods, and that sort of thing. You really have an unlimited array of options for creating a standard report. And this is one report in your standard library as an example. One of the most popular reports we have. Imagine trying to build this report consolidated across 5 files every month. How long would that take, especially since the chart of accounts are probably different? Qvinci brings it together and pulls it together for you in milliseconds, as an example. So let's hop out of this and let's look at a sample of, what an output package in PDF format. I got 2 packages for you. A lot of our clients are franchises. A lot of our clients are accountants. We have clients that are dioceses. Dioceses have the same paradigm. A lot of parishes need reporting across all of them. Charts of accounts are all different. You know, we got a diocese that has 86 locations, and unless you use Qvinci with the SCOA mapping capabilities consolidations, their native chart of accounts combined is 885 lines long for the P&L. That's a problem. It's unusable, and they've only been in business for 2 centuries. Haven't figured it out yet. They put the SCOA in Qvinci. We automatically map the chart of accounts. Their P&L is 45 lines long, and they see instantly every day up-to-date data without doing anything other than saying, "Give me that report." This is an example of a series of reports in a library assembled as an output package. You select the client. You say, "Give me the package. Here's what you get." As an example, cover page, some KPIs. You pick and choose charts of accounts. We did some margin analysis on all these various elements. There's nothing. It's not hard-coded. We just chose these. And I'm getting the period over period. As Sara was talking about, you know, starting and ending periods and those kind of things. I got the diff between the two, and I got the dollar change between the two. If it's negative, it's red. If it's not, it's good. And I create this custom KPI, and this KPI will work for every client I have. I never build this again. It's a template in a library, and it hydrates at runtime across 1 to n units. Second, we got another KPI. Got a little bit more styling in here. It's a KPI analysis, and it's year-over-year analysis. Okay? Partial year, prior year before that. As an example, we start getting into the standardized balance sheet. You know, last year, year before, dollar change between the two. Again, you can change the chart of accounts. You can hydrate things. You can add custom rows and columns. You can do vertical analysis. There's all kinds of things. This just happens to be a standard. And as you move through this package, you begin to get things like annual comparison year over year in a standard chart of accounts across 1 to 25 units, let's say. Trailing 12 months reports. Again, dump to PDF, dump to Excel as we move through the data here. And I can run this as many times as I want, across as many units as I want, and this package is just going to fall out this way. Okay? GAAP compliant reports available at your fingertips. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at another one for a franchise. You might have it doesn't have to be a franchise, anything multi-unit. Here's the cover page for Art Gallery. I've got a table of contents. This automatically falls after this. Here's some KPIs where we start analyzing fuel, leases, expenses as a percent of a fixed goal, an optimum goal, and we got the variance between the two. KPI instructions. You know, one of the things as a trusted advisor you want to do for your clients is do trusted advising. So on the next page, dear customer, you're going to find this data. I suggest you digest it like this, paying particular attention to these things. I create this page, I put it in here, because it's going to be the same thing, because the next month, I'm just going to run this report again, and they're going to get these KPIs. Here we have we've built we've trifurcated the income categories into mini P&Ls with some analysis. Last month, current year, last month, prior year, dollar change between the two on merchandise sales, fees, gross profit, GP as a percent of total income, optimum ratio, and the variance. I don't build this again. I build a template once, I select the customer, I run it, I get it in the discussion. How long to do this? Across 2 or 3 files, or 1 file every month. Oh, it's pretty painful, right? Well, we prefer clicks of a mouse. Here's that multi-period report that I showed you just a minute ago. So you can begin to get the idea. We're going to build templates, and we're going to do things like this, which really become different. Here I have a report across a plurality of QuickBooks files. QuickBooks Online, desktop, and desktop, consolidated in a standardized chart of accounts, automatically assembled, put together. That's cool. I don't have to do anything. I just select this report to be run. You know, I've got things like consolidated over the years. This one is really popular. This is something we do that nobody else does. Peer benchmarking. I've got my 3 units, Austin, Dallas, and Houston. Those are the names of the files. Vertical analysis, and the average of the 3 in the ecosystem. Well, where it gets really, really valuable is when you start having these multi-unit entities you're dealing with, and they've got a plurality of entities, and you want to allow them to compare themselves anonymously to their peers against a standard chart of accounts. And we know that chart of accounts in every one of these locations is going to be different because some people can't spell, and they spell lease with 3 E's. Well, what do you do when a chart of account has got rent, lease with 3 E's, and lease spelled correctly? If you consolidate them normally, you'd get 3 accounts over here. Rent, lease spelled wrong, and lease spelled wrong. Our account mapping tool will shove them all into rent if that's what you want to do. So this kind of thing takes you to a whole new level. And remember, you can add custom rows and columns and analysis. You can be the trusted advisor giving them guidance. These are just examples of the kinds of things we can do. How about a consolidated budget to actual of those 3 units? Pulling the budgetary data out of all 3 in files, standardizing the chart of accounts, mashing them together, and giving the budget to actual variance across all 3 units. An example of what we can do. Think of it this way: report templating, standardization, and automation. That's it, standardizing, automation. So let's hop in the app real quick, because we've looked at enough little pretty slideshows right now. And let's hop in and see what it's like under the hood. So I'm in Qvinci, and this is the portal I was describing to you. You and your team members in your firm will log in, and you will see the plurality of your customers here. And we're going to tell you what file type: QBD's QuickBooks Desktop, 0 QuickBooks Online. All my customers, all the reporting entities, and these can be files or classes in a file or locations in a file. If this were a class, it'd say QBD by class, or QBO by class or location. All these cells are hot. You want the AR report? Click that cell. You're going to get the AR report for coffee shop number 1 that quickly. And you have a plurality of financial analysis type elements over here. You log in, you leave notes for each other, you collaborate, you're looking at your customer. Now, you may not want to open the file. Maybe you're on the road. Maybe the client's got the file locked, let's say. So we're going to give you the GL view. You can come in here and say, you know, I'm going to get into the GL for coffee shop number 1. I'm a tax guy inside a firm, let's say. I click the view button, and Qvinci says, drill down, select the accounts you want, or select them all, select the period you want, click save, and it's going to bring up the GL for that file. And that's last year's GL. All these columns are hot. If there's classes, you're going to see classes. You know, QuickBooks Online doesn't give you the debit and credit columns. They just give you one column, and you go D or C, right? We make QuickBooks Online look like QuickBooks Desktop. It's a superior solution, so why handicap people with QuickBooks Online's deficiency, in my opinion? So you've got this kind of view here. And we tell you what they all are, and you can imagine that you've got this data here, and if you have tax people in your office or other people, people doing audits, you know, instantaneous view without needing to log into a QuickBooks file. How cool is that? Well, there's other ways to do this, and what accountants tell us that they like to do is really to get into that GL, interrogate that GL based on looking at reports. Let's take a look. You click the customer, and in our case, this client has got more than one file, so I'm going to select just one file, coffee shop number 1, because we do consolidation, right? This is a history. So we got the Qvinci gallery, 47 gap compliant reports ready for you to use, cut, paste, copy, change, whatever you want to do. It's a quick start kind of thing. And in my library, I've got these reports. These are my defined reports I want to use. And I really want to just look at coffee shop number 1 of the P&L for the last fiscal year. You click preview, and at no time did my fingers leave my hand, or did I go into a QuickBooks file. Here's the P&L for last year across coffee shop number 1. I go, wait a minute. Why is this $47,760 in February for online for hot drinks? That's insane. What's wrong with this? I double click it, and it's going to drill down to the GL for that account in that file for that date range. I'm looking at all the GL transactions. Well, you can imagine audit and tax people. Wow, how cool is that? I don't have to log into a file. I forgot the credentials. I don't know where it is. It's 2016. I tried to open it with 2017. There's all these things that go away when you have this kind of capability. Well, we take it one step further and we say, you know what they probably want to do is be able to view journal entries and create journal entries without ever having to log into a QuickBooks file. So I'm a manager. I view the journal entries, and here's all the journal entries I've created in Qvinci or somebody. I've got 25 people in my office. And we have access to all these files. And we collaborate on these files. I got tax, audit people, that kind of thing. And some people are creating journal entries, and some people have the ability to authorize them. So a plurality of people can create journal entries, and I'm the manager, and I can approve them. Or I can edit them. Somebody created this journal entry for this company. I can edit it, open it up, make changes to it in the Qvinci ecosystem. You know, make it the same way you create a journal entry in every version of QuickBooks. Click Save. And if I click Approve, it's going to immediately, QuickBooks Online is going to immediately push the changes in the QuickBooks Online file without ever going to QuickBooks Online. In Desktop, it's going to push those things into the Desktop file the next time it syncs. The next time someone opens that QuickBooks Desktop file, these JEs are going to automatically go in, and the reporting data is going to come back out. You could have 10 people creating journal entries. Manage those journal entries here. Approve, disapprove, allow, disallow, edit, change. And create them and change them and put them in. a way to manage the input of journal entries across a plurality of clients and a plurality of users in one easy-to-use solution, regardless of the file type you're dealing with, which makes it very, very easy, right? And of course, you push these journal entries in, your reports change. Here's what's really insane about this solution that the accountants tell us. The client, in this case, maybe they're not on Qbox, and they're gone fishing, and they have the file on their desktop in their back office, and they've gone fishing. You can do your work. You can create journal entries, put them in here. They'll be pending. We will show you what the reports are going to look like after you create those journal entries, even though they're not in the remote QuickBooks file. You go, you know, that's cool. I like that. It's exactly what I wanted to have happen on the balance sheet. Client comes back 3 days later from fishing, opens his QuickBooks file, the sync automatically happens, the file is updated, and everything's clean. So, or someone's got the file locked, or someone broke their file, or something like that, any number of kind of things. Or it's a QuickBooks Online file. It's a standardized way of doing the kinds of things that optimize your efficiencies, save a truckload of time. Basically what we're doing is we're saving you a truckload of time, save a lot of time, and automate and standardize the reporting process. And you simply use the Qvinci ecosystem for getting in and out of the file in General Ledger and journal entries, and you use our reporting solution to automate the report construction and templating and delivery to your customers. It's very, very simple. You create reports. These are all different reports that can be run. You create documents, cover pages, table of contents, that kind of thing, and you assemble them into a package, which can be an output of Excel or PDF. And you simply say, hey, I'm on Coffee Shop number 1. Here's my package. Give me the package. Download the package, this reporting package for Coffee Shop number 1, because I know what the reports are in there. And Qvinci says, go get the data, put it together, do all the chart of accounts, and put it in the format that I want, and give me the output package, and there she is. One of our customers, 1,200 locations, right? All running QuickBooks Desktop with classes, and some of these locations in here are classes. Consolidated. So here's what they really wanted. A standard chart of accounts that is not the same as the chart of accounts in all those remote QuickBooks files. This is the structure they wanted, color-coded they wanted, and I'm looking at 2016's data as a percent of sales. That's their detail kind of thing. And this is a page in a package. Here's a different view with a different series of accounts named differently with combinations. An EBITDA four-wall calculation at the bottom. You don't get that out of QuickBooks, right? With an admin allocation, you can change the structure and the order of the reporting. You get things with us that you can't get out of QuickBooks, and you get it instantaneously at your fingertips. So the takeaway from Qvinci, and I know we're bumping up on a hard stop here. So the takeaway from Qvinci is that we're going to automate your reporting, standardize reporting, automatically deliver the reporting, and then we're going to change how you get into in and out and get in and out of those files, optimize the efficiencies, and the bottom line is you and your staff are going to save so much more time than you spend on Qvinci because it's very economical and it's extremely economical, and you're going to deliver more intelligence to your customer with a couple of clicks than you could possibly hope to do manually by trying to assemble things using the QuickBooks reporting mechanisms. So, Chris, I'm going to turn it back to you at this point, and I'm going to try to figure out how to stop sharing this thing.
Okay, yeah, it's just the red box at the top. So thank you very much, Charles. I know that was a lot of information about a very high caliber product that does provide a huge amount of simplicity for all accountants and bookkeepers potentially, but definitely in that setting also where you're talking about change, where you can standardize reports and all of the information, and so they can literally provide reporting for a multitude of locations, or to use your word, a plurality of locations in a short amount of time. So a very powerful tool. So thank you, Charles, and also thank you, John. I won't leave you out, John. I don't know if you're still with us. And thank you also again to Sara. We really appreciate you giving us an explanation of the different options that are available. A little bit similar processes, but TBX also allows for that extraction of data, which, as you mentioned, you said it works very well with TPI, Transaction Pro?
Yes, TPI. And now that we have our journal entry built, we're going to add a map file that can be used with TPI. So it has just what TPI wants. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
I'm excited. Remember I mentioned my pretty financials leaving my creative solutions?
Yeah.
Qvinci, I'm like, ooh, pretty financials.
Yeah, it's a very powerful tool. I mean, the reporting that it does and the way it formats, it's a very powerful resource. So we'll have information for both resources. By the way, we'll get you information regarding Qvinci and the link how to get in touch with them. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can optimize supporting your clients and using that tool, we'll get you information in our follow-up emails that will go out tomorrow. We do also, we're not quite out of time, but I did want to mention that thank you very much, by the way, to our guest for today. Thank you for introducing us to Qvinci and giving us a better understanding. And I promise you that was barely scratching the surface. If you want more information about Qvinci, again, we'll send you a follow-up way to get in touch with them via email, and also you can reach out to their website to get more information or maybe set up a demo if you like. So next month we are going to shift gears for just a moment. We will be back next month, desktop time. I know a lot of you are in the throes of tax season, so again, our attendance was not as high as usual today. But make sure you plan to come out next month, or at the very least come back in April. Next month we're going to have Ingrid Edstrom is going to be joining us as our guest host, and we'll have Finnegraph here talking about flight, which a number of you had asked us about, and so we're looking forward to seeing their demo as well. And so please put it on your calendar. Next month will be March 21st, which is always the third Wednesday of the month. And at the same time, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Sorry, all you East Coasters. But it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon our time here. And I did see that we had some folks that got some swag coming their way. So Allison's going to take care of getting that to you and getting your information to mail it out to you. We also did want to mention that Qbox, this is kind of an aside, will be a guest host next month on the Power Hour. So we're excited about that. We'll be talking about, actually going to run a live demo on Power Hour. And then Hector's nice enough, he's agreed to come back here in September and give us kind of a sneak preview of the desktop version for next year, 2019. So again, thank you very much to Charles and to Sarah and to John also for joining us today and for your awesome presentation. It will be available also online. We'll put up the recorded version sometime tomorrow. So if you did miss us, we hope you get a chance to watch it in the recorded version. So thank you very much again to everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day today. And good luck getting through the rest of tax season. I hope things go smoothly for you. And we'll look forward to talking to you in the future. Take care.
Thanks.